But I'm sure colleagues, they know how to log in, to register on the GMS and open an account. It's very straightforward. Once you find this NAC.praxis, which is also on the guidelines and on the NAC website and portal, you just have to register and have an account before you can even use this online system to apply. But it's very, very user-friendly because people can also help you from a distance. Yeah, but I think let me allow Leader Tammy to take the stage. You're welcome, Leader. You can take the stage.
Thank you very much, President Romeo, and also thanks to the leadership of SACAIF for always organizing these sessions, you understand, because I think they are very important to assist the industry, And I like what you said in the beginning, Uguti. In this platform, it's a totally different engagement. It's not about politics. It's not about who's right, who's wrong, but the mission of this, you understand, is to assist artists to understand the processes and also how to apply. Because bear in mind, amongst the attendees are the people that have applied, and there are people that have never applied, and it's going to be their first time to apply. There are those that have been applying and have been rejected. There are those that used to get, and we understand that they are rejected. So it's a mixture. So I think our presentation will make a balance. And you also mentioned something about the rejection letters that are given to people. So NAC, let me start. The process of adjudication is divided into two processes. The first stage is the stage whereby when you send the application, it goes into the NAC administration. It does not go to the panel adjudication, the people that will look at the proposal. And their job is to go through the section 1, which is the compliance documents, to see if everything is in order before they take it into the adjudication panel. Like I'll make a typical example. If they feel, maybe the ID copy that you've submitted, it's outdated, and then automatically they disqualify you, and your application does not go into the adjudication panel. Or let's say you've got a reference letter that is not dated or signed, and then it means your application won't go through to the panel. That's why the president in the beginning, he was saying the NAC hasn't started, because this process of adjudication of compliance, it's done by NAC before even the adjudication panel comes in. And President, I was looking at the agenda. Maybe we need to think about, you understand, how we are dealing today. But on my side, I'm going, as you said, focus on the compliance. And maybe later on, President and the leadership of SACAIF, you can decide, maybe for today, do we go into making sure that many artists are clear in terms of compliance, are clear, as President, you are saying, to get to navigate, you understand? Because I feel, Uguti, as an industry, we also need to spend some quality time on these compliance issues. And I think maybe my presentation will cover quite a lot of those things, but maybe let's see how it goes. And then maybe earlier on next week, we understand even Monday or something, we can have a detailed one where we go step by step, but I'll be guided by you. So let me start by saying, one of the advice that I always give many people that are applying, because I do assist quite a number of people in applying, I always say you need to apply if there is an opportunity of you applying as an individual and also applying as an organization for two separate projects. It gives you a chance, you understand, of more chance. I'll make a typical example. In the one that recently, the one that we are receiving a rejection letter, I applied for a project as an individual, which is maybe a capacity building, and I applied a theater project with a new company that we just started. We understand, and today the new company that started received the rejection letter. But the one that I've applied as an individual, which is totally different, it has not been, I haven't received a rejection letter. So because also in the guideline, in the advert, it will say that only an application will be supported from a both natural person, which is an individual, and an organization. So I always encourage abantu to get more chances. We understand that it's quite tricky when you just apply with only one project, whether it's an individual or organization. It's not giving you more chances of getting the funding. But maybe I will elaborate later on that. It's something that is allowed. It's not against the law. It's not criminal. You understand that you are giving yourself more chances of receiving the funding, because when one is not successfully, and then you can hope on the other one. So when the NAC makes call, there are two
Sorry that
important.
sorry
Yeah.
that no, the agenda, obviously, we're going to go through the guidelines as it is, all the whole guideline. And then we're also gonna go through the GMS. In terms of the GMS, we'll be doing a live application, which I will do, which I've prepared. Yeah, so
Okay.
I think because now the GMS itself is start with compliance. That's why you coming at the compliance stage. Then after you are done,
Okay.
I'll quickly go through the guidelines. Then after we're done with the guidelines, then we work through the compliance, where also there will be an application process. We'll be going through it in a form of applying, sort of, in a way. Thank you.
Perfect, President. Thank you very much. That's why I love Sarchive. Sarchive is very practical, regardless of how many people trying to criticize. So when NAC makes this call, there are two important documents that most people, even those who are having experience, don't usually go through. The first one is the document that will say NAC advert. And then the second one, it will be the one that goes in terms of guidelines. Let me make a typical example with the one that says NAC advert. In the NAC advert, it will tell you what kinds of projects that are supported. Obviously, the NAC is dealing with 7 disciplines, right? You can be in craft, you can be in dance, you can be in literature, you can do multidiscipline, which is a mixture of everything. You can be music, you can visual art, you can be in theater. Yeah. President, I've noted something here, maybe we will deal with later. The NAC, in the NAC advert, since they are very strict when it comes to compliance, on their advert, they've just mentioned musical theater and not mentioned theater. We understand that because it's supposed to be the other way around. It's supposed to be theater because musical theater falls under theater. So maybe that's a mistake on their side. Instead of saying musical theater, they needed to say theater because also in all the documents of the NAC, it will have that 7 thing. It's just one slight compliance because they has bathanda upanisha artists. And then the very interesting thing that they've done now in their advert, they are saying what kinds of project that they will support, what kind of project they will support, and they've done a list in this NAC advert to saying ukuthi it could be a creation, it could be a composition, it could be workshops, it could be showcases, it could be exhibition, it could be script writing. This one, it was kind of new for me. I didn't pick up in the previous one. And also they are mentioning residencies, they are mentioning performances and other art-related activities. So it already gives you a sense of what kind of projects that you can apply for in this NAC. And then another important thing that a lot of people are missing, President, when they apply, NAC, just like any other funding bodies, they've got the areas that they specialize. I'm always looking for this one because you will find there's a shortage. It says in the advert, right? Applicant presenting content and offering training in South African indigenous art forms and intellectual property are encouraged to apply. Because here the NAC or the funder is giving us a guidance. There is a shortage of applications that are teaching people about intellectual property, maybe under capacity building. They are desperate looking for that. There is a need for training in South African indigenous art form. We understand we should take that also, we understand, as a guidance. Hey, NAC is telling us something. And then, President, when you open to the GMS, it will take you straight into, there are different sections in the application process. There are about 5 sections, right? The section 1, which is the compliance document, whereby you load all the documents that are needed. This is where most of the people get disqualified. And just like as President saying, the NAC has made some adjustment. So those who have applied in the past, they mustn't go to the GMS with Ingondo to say, I already know. There are adjustments that are already made, and we're going to look at that. We understand that. So in section 1, they've asked a full CV of individual. We understand or 2 full CVs of organization members, whether the lead and someone in the office. And please note the difference of the language. They are not asking for a biography. They are not asking for a profile. They are asking for a full CV. And I know there are big differences, and a lot of people might have a different view. A full CV will be a full CV that gives a sense of, obviously, a CV artist is totally different with the CV kwa ShopRite, because your CV as an artist should be showing your activities that you are involved in the industry. We understand, especially, I want to emphasize this thing, especially on the field that you are applying. Let's say, for example, you are applying for capacity building. In your CV, in your full CV, at least there must be a way that we see Uguti, you've got experience of running capacity building programs. Let's say you're applying to run a festival. In your CV, you understand, there must be something that will show, Oguti, you've got an experience of working in the festival environment. Or if you are writing a theater production, as a writer, we understand that at least in your CV, it must show, Oguti, you've got an experience. And I know this because Nati, it also affects us regardless. Like, for example, I'm an actor by profession. The full CV that I have when I want to apply for arts administration position, it's totally different to the CV that I submit as an actor, because my CV as an actor just focus on my acting thing. There's nothing about writing, there's nothing about directing, there's nothing about positions that I've held, you understand? There's nothing about too much education in arts. So I want to emphasize this thing. Please look at your CVs and make sure it's not a biography. It's not a profile. It's not just an actor CV. We understand? It's a full CV. And also in your CV, make sure it covers the areas that you want to apply the project so that they truly understand this one is an artist. I mustn't assume just because I'm Tami or I'm Romeo, they will know my specialties. The CV needs to be a passing point, you understand, for me, but okay, in the passing. And then the second one that they always ask in terms of the compliance, it's a certified ID. We understand for individual, and then for organization, they will want a lead applicant and also one of office bearers. And this one, they specify your CV must not be later than 12 months. In the past, I, as Tami, regardless of the experience that I've had with applying for the NAC, I have made some silly mistake whereby I upload an older one. I personally have done that. We understand. Hence, now the new strategy, I will say for each and every call, if it means I must go to the police station and update and do the most recent one to be safe. We understand that I do that. So I will encourage you to make sure as much as Baniga is 12 months, the sooner the better, so that clean. We have, and then the third one is the one that they ask about the previous work. We have said in the beginning in the CV, if you are doing capacity building workshop, in your previous work, surely there should be workshops whereby you were part of running workshops or you were doing something. If you are applying for a festival, if you've done other festivals, surely in the previous work, we should see that. If you are applying for a theater, we should see the work that previously you have done, you understand, in that field, so that they see Uguti, the CV that this person has uploaded. It speaks also in terms of the experience of what they do. Obviously, there are those who are arts administrators. You understand that maybe in your CV, you will show the projects that you've been part of. You understand? And then same applies in that thing. In the previous work, you don't have to put one picture, another picture, and you can make a nice collage of the thing, combine pictures, you understand? And they've also specified here, Uguti, wherever possible, previous work should be dated. I will make a typical example. If I was part of a previous festival, a festival that was happening last year, I can put together the pictures from that festival and mark Uguti, this is Imbewu Cultural Festival happening on this date, you understand? So that they get a sense, Uguti, this person has been involved in the industry. Some people are just putting the dates and not checking Uguti. They are asking wherever possible, please state Uguti date, when was this activity, so that the adjudicators can have a sense. And then another document that they will want, it's a proof of bank account. Obviously, a proof of bank account, nowadays, you can even source it online, or others, they go to the bank and ask the bank and a senator to generate that letter. As long as that proof of bank in the name of account holder, let's say, because in the past, it has happened with some people, they will put account and not put their account. That's automatically disqualification on its own. Because I can't apply as a Tami Akambongo and then ndifake bank account ka Siphosethu Mbongo. We understand that because you are calling a disaster for yourself. So if I've applied as Tamsang Hawel Mbongo, and in the application, I don't make a mistake and say I'm going to apply as Tami Akambongo Manzana. That's my stage name. That's not my real name. My real name is Tamsanga Hawel Mbongo. So that when I insert my copy of the ID, it matches with the name that I've given. You understand that? Because that's a legal name. So sometimes abanye abantu benza a mistake. So the account, if the company name is Akambongo Foundation, so the bank account, it can't be the account number Katamsanga Mbongo, because I did not apply as Yavasana as an individual. I applied as an organization. And most people, even the leaders in the sector in the past, they have applied with their PDY and want to insert a document, ID number, because Bati, what in a PDY, I'm an individual. It does not work like that. You will be automatically disqualified. Obviously, with the bank, it will come with a branch code and an account number, and this letter must be within 3 months. We understand, but ignore that 3 months. If it means ukuthi I'm applying today, let me get the letter of today, so that NAC problems. It has happened in the MGE. We understand about delay, izinto and all. Be on the safe side. I encourage you to go and generate the letter as soon as possible now and add. And then another thing that they ask is 2 reference letters of reference. This one, President, I want to emphasize, Kakur. A lot of artists do a mistake. As artists, we need to learn, Uguti. When you're asking people a reference letter, you should send them a formal email. A formal email that will tell them, Uguti, Yabo, can you please write a reference letter for me? I'm doing this project. The name of the project is this. The purpose of the project, we understand that I want to achieve. Obviously, I also need song scope about the project that you want to do, so that the person that write a reference letter for you, they know what they are going to write. If I'm writing, like for example, I always ask is archive, because Ulita Romeo, especially when I apply for capacity building, because Ulita Romeo knows my involvement when it comes to capacity building. So the reference letter that I expect from Ulita Romeo, we understand a capacity building, it's totally different from a reference letter that I can ask someone in the theater world. It's totally different from the reference letter that I can ask if I were to do a music festival. We understand. We make a mistake as practitioners and make Ukuti a reference letter as long as and dinner reference letter, that's it. I penally up. We understand the person that writes a reference letter must also speak to what you are applying for, to show Uguti, yes, Utami unazo capacity, experience and knowledge of running capacity building, because we have worked with Tami on this project and on this project. If I'm applying for a festival, someone that writes a reference letter, they must say, Uguti, I've got the skills and experience of running a festival. If I'm applying for a theater production, someone, they must speak to that. So our reference letter all the time, but then the blank approach, you understand? So it's important, even they say they need to validate your work. We understand an involvement in this area that you are working on. And another thing, they ask you for a detailed budget. Obviously, in the actual application that the president will go on section C, there is a budget terms. Other people, they make a mistake of not matching the detailed budget with the one that they do on section 5. So you insert the full budget. Like I will give a typical example. A lot of us were disqualified in MGE because they were saying you did not specify the number of jobs, right? A lot of people have many little later. So in PESP, they are very, we understand, about too concerned about how many numbers. So you can't just say in your detailed proposal, ukuthi actors. Specify how many actors that you are going to get. We understand that because it goes to that number of jobs. I will make a typical example. If I'm doing a festival with 10 writers, and then I'm going to call again 10 directors to come and direct those shows, and then each production is going to have 5 actors, and then I summarize that number. Each show will have a stage manager. We understand in the breakdown. I also break down ukuthi how many people, so that at the end they see ukuthi, oh, this project is going to generate 70 job opportunities or 4, and you need to do that in the detailed budget. And then they also want for the organization, obviously, a copy of organization certificate to show what your organization is registered. And those that are doing the capacity building, because that one is also tricky because they are asking for a manual. We have a manual is sort of like what is it that you are going to do, a detail. If I'm doing an intellectual property or copyright or something amendment, you know, let me break it down with how am I going to do the program. If I'm doing acting workshop, it's not enough to say I'm doing acting workshop. What in acting workshop? We're going to cover a characterization. We're going to cover story building and give them the sense so that the person can see. When they look at your workshop manual, they look at your CV, they look at the previous work, but this person, it makes sense. They know exactly what they are doing. And your manual can't be just a smaller summary. You are not giving the adjudicator or someone to get an understanding what is it that they want to do. They also want CVs of the facilitators. Same applies with what I said before. I can't just, I'm doing a festival, a capacity building, but in the CVs, I'm just putting CVs of actors without experience of having the capacity building. It does not match. We understand. Please make sure in the capacity building, you will put people that you know, even in their CV, it speak on their experience when it comes to capacity building. If I'm doing a festival, people that we understand, if I'm putting adjudicators, we understand. So be clear on what you insert. You don't just put in J. Abanye in the past have succeeded, Bawina, Abanye, and Yazi. And then lastly, they also ask Uguti, you must specify, if you're doing a workshop, specify the number of people that you are going to train. We understand it's needed. Some people, they make it easy by making sure as part of that manual, all that information is there. And please make it clear so that umdafunda angazoti, but your application was nice, but you did not mention how many people that you were going to train. And then for those who are applying for theater, they will say attach a synopsis for a theater, and then for a literature, a creative writing project, do you understand? Which is totally different. I work in the theater. There are people that are still struggling to develop a synopsis. That's the reality. It's not a lie. You understand that? Please make sure a synopsis is not like a summary. A summary is totally different from a synopsis. It's not an outline. In a film, it's a totally different language. Please get someone that understands the language so that it becomes a synopsis of the play. In the past, you will remember they used to ask you, you can insert the full script. I'm glad that they've went that because in terms of ukuba umsebenzi wabantu, it's easy, but with the synopsis, it's really reasonable. We understand. And lastly, President, before I hand over to you, they specify in that document, there are 2 new editions in this page. You understand? There is a place where you can insert audio or video of your previous work. And I want to make a suggestion to those that will apply. If it means put together as actors, like for example, you've got a show reel, right? When people want to employ you, acting or agents or producers, you can send them a show reel. A show reel shows case or go to the different productions that you've worked with. Yeah, but if it means I'm in the capacity building. I've got numbers of different videos of the previous work that I'm doing. Let me do that, you understand? Upload it on YouTube or somewhere and then make that link available. If you've got pictures, do pictures. Make a nice video, you understand? A collage of your work and then uyifake ku YouTube and put that link because it will give you more chances because they will see you really know what you are talking about. And then the second thing that they have specified when you upload, please ensure that the documents you upload are clear, especially the scanned ones. I know it myself because in the past I used to go to the internet cafe and scan, but the ID you can't even see when it was certified. It is our own mistake. We understand. Uguti, we need to check to make sure Uguti. I know a lot of artists. Our scanner is in the phone and then it does not read that well. So make sure Uguti you are safe. If it means Uguti uskenelwe uyabo so that bangadisqualify just because ukuthi it was not clear. You understand, I'd rather be on the safe side. PESP, as the president was saying, if you apply for 70 jobs, it's up to 800,000 that you can apply. If you apply to create for 40 jobs, you can apply up until 500,000. But if you don't want to specify, because we understand that you don't know, you can apply up until 300,000. Please know your experience, know your knowledge, and if uyafila ukuthi mna ndisafika or ndiyaqala ukwenza ndifuna nje 150, it's fine. It does not mean ukuthi you must push and get 300. Based on your experience, based on what you've submitted on your documents. Like, for example, earlier on, I was saying this new company that I've applied with, it was declined because I thought myself, let me not apply by my foundation because I've been applying. Let me apply with something. Maybe this if I applied with the company that already have a track record, it was going to be better. I don't know. We understand. So maybe as this new company, I should have started smaller and getting bigger. I don't know. So as in closing, as much as president, we are saying compliance, it's important not as the artists, we need to equip ourselves so that later on, when we challenge the system to say, you've declined me because you said I did not, you understand, you have that proof here because you can appeal. And you are right when you were saying in one of the group, those who feel Uguti, they are disqualified just in G, they must immediately, before that even process start, of adjudication so that be right. From my side, President, I think I wanted to come to this session and just deal with compliance and the Khabulise. It does not mean what I'm saying it's 100%. It's just an experience because now I'm one of the people that apply, but I'm hoping this kind of information will strengthen those Yavasana Aba Applyayo Kwatin. We all don't know what is the winning formula. Sometimes you apply, you get. Sometimes you don't, you apply, you are not getting. Even us, with the experience that we have of the proposal, I've assisted people around maybe 9. Yeah, but out of 9, only 2 of them have received a declining letter. Yeah, but must I be demotivated? No. But I'm interested to find out what is it so that the projects that were disqualified, if I can get a reason to say, in terms of compliance, you did not, I can assist them to reapply with PESP. It's not end of the world. There are things politically or strategically that we will fight with them, with an NAC to say, come on board, be aware of A and B. But this platform tonight, but it's not that one. This one is about how do we assist many artists to receive funding. Ndiyabulela kakhulu President for the platform. Ndiyabulela kakhulu kwi-SAICAV Gauteng for that platform. I encourage many artists to apply. Please seek assistance from others. If I trust President Romeo, before I send my application, maybe compliance, we should have a band that will assist us. But go through a platform. Documents it before we ask, because sometimes with technology, I can upload document, I'm 100% sure I've uploaded the correct one, or to find out it's a mistake. We do human errors. Get someone that you trust to say, please go through this. Even if umuntu ongekho industry ajonge athi i-ID yam is it certified before watching, to make sure ungarashi uyifaka. The earlier you do these things, the better. And don't rush to apply. You want to do everything together. Like, as much as I'm experienced, myself, I spend time and say, today I'm only focusing on reference letter. Today I'm uploading. You understand? I'm not rushing to finish section 1, section 2 in one day, because those things I need time to think really through and keep going back to their advert and guidelines and find a way to what language I'm going to use. In that way, you are going to find a winning formula. Good luck to everyone that is applied. Back to you, President.
Life of an artist, bad shot spices, glorifying drugs as a stage fright cure. You can try this just when you're about to grab your chance of staging. Excitement, you can't think out this industry, or should I say this killer dream, cause you will swear that from the start it was designed to kill artists. Bangakulwela when days are bright, ungutembekile. As a human being on Instagram, too much pressure, unrealistic expectations. Whoever said that he's the perfect is with us, wetembekile. Singiza wetembekile. Remedies within us as ikhwemba sipepekile.